Hello? Hello? Everybody there? Hello? All right. I don't see Yossi or Joseph. Nevertheless, we'll begin. All right, so I felt like we should do a little bit of a review on Siman 190 before we go into 191.
We're done with Kesamim. 190, right?
190 is Kesamim. We're done with it, but I was going to do a little review. And then a little test.
Nice.
Hope you don't mind. Just like on the spot.
As long as it's on the review.
Spot quiz. Okay, so first of all, this we mentioned already, but it bears mention again. All halachas of achakas and bedikas are the same for Tumas Kesamim. Even though it's Rabbanan, we are not lenient on any of the details. Yes, is that you?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. How's your Yantif?
Baruch Hashem was very good. How about you?
Baruch Hashem was good. Had a good bar mitzvah the other night, and
Oh, yes,
yeah.
lovely.
Things are just starting to come down to earth, as it happens. So we're doing a review on Siman 190 with the Taharah Kehalacha. I sent it to you earlier. So I was just saying that even though it's Kesamim is derabanan, nevertheless we are as strict with the Tumah of Kesem as if it's a regular Nida. So therefore all the harachakas apply. 5 days, the 7 days, there's no differences. We did mention that there are some opinions from Branzo for Yerushalayim specifically. So he says, at any time a woman finds a kesem, she should immediately do a bedika. And his reasoning is because nowadays we don't know what a hargasha is. Maybe she had hargasha, she didn't realize. So even if it's a tamei kesem, there's really no point in doing a bedika. It doesn't help up or down.
Do we sell it immediately? Exactly.
No, because we didn't paskin like this opinion anyway. So we didn't really go into it. But his point is that even if it's a kesem that is tahar, I should say specifically if it's a kesem that's tahar, it's tamei. But if it's a kesem that's tahar because it's not makabel tuma, it's on a garment that's colored, it's less than the shear. But the fact is there could have been a hargasha, so she should do a bedika. That's our Bansavar's Chiddush. However, it's not mentioned in the Poskim. Poskim don't mention it. No, none of the earlier Poskim mention it. So it's his own Chiddush, and that's not the main halacha. A woman wants to do a bedika, we're not going to stop her from doing a bedika. In general, the Mishnah says, a woman that does extra bedikas, she could go ahead. It's no problem. We're not going to stop her, but there's no obligation because the Chachamim never made that obligation. The fact is, she did not have a hargasha, and therefore we're going to go by the rules of Kesamim, whatever those rules are, as we're learning now. That's all. No need to do a bedika. Okay, we also mentioned, that whenever a woman has any kind of doubt whatsoever, she should always ask a shayla. She shouldn't pass it on her own. If it's anything near the size of a gris, she should ask. If it's a color that's somewhat a little bit questionable, she should ask. Now, of course, some things are not even a question. She doesn't have to ask. Each person kind of has to decide that for themselves. There's no clear directive as to what is a question and what is not. The person themselves knows what is a clear question and what is not. Just last night, I had a very difficult Mara. Couldn't paskin on it. It was nighttime. I only got it at night. And it was mikveh night. And it was the shaila from the hefsek exactly 1 week earlier. Because it was Yantif, it was Shmei Atzeres, Hashanah Rabbah, Simchas Torah, Shabbos Bereshis. So it was delivered to my mailbox, maybe an hour before Shkia. I didn't notice about it. And I went to Meyer and I came back, and there it is. It's nighttime. I couldn't paskin. It was too hard. I told him, I'll give you a number to another Rav. Go, ask yourself. So
you sent her another route?
I told her that's what she should do, but
There was a particular Torah.
that was a hefsek Taharah.
That's the Torah.
In the end, they couldn't be bothered, so they just went the next day. I'm sorry?
Who did you reference?
Rabbi Janowski from Yeshiva Elementary. It was a difficult Mara. I may even have it in my pocket. I wanted to bring it to Rav Hosner because Rav Hosner is on the way to Montevideo, Uruguay, to supervise the shechita there. And he spent 3 hours in the airport today. But unfortunately, it was from 7 till now. He's still there now. 7 till 10. I couldn't make it. But it's only a it's not really relevant now anyway because they waited till the next night. That is a B'diga cloth. You got to get used to it if you want to.
Yeah, you're the one that keeps asking
They
about
waited
that.
till the battle once.
No, you said you want to be learning how to do this. At least 4.
Anyway, it was scientific. They waited till the next.
It was just because that was the hefsek. So if that was no good,
Did
they
they have to do one again the next?
did it.
They did it.
Whenever you do a badika, that can double as a hefsek.
Okay, double that. Okay.
Even though you're supposed to do a moich
Right.
and whatever, that's like
It'll-
that's extra in almost all cases.
What the passing for me, Sandura is not good.
I couldn't say it's good, especially a hefsek. He never brought it. He said, no, he couldn't be bothered.
You have it.
That's why I still have it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it.
So if they were going to ask you, like if they asked you, why wouldn't they ask somebody else?
So she still.
Because he's in Miami Beach and I'm on the surf side.
Alright, so she went to the mikveh in the end?
No,
No, the next night, based on the next night.
they said we'll just wait one night and that's it. But that just goes to show that you should really ask on time, not delay, because sometimes it could.
Why couldn't you say no?
It's at night, and the color, in general, the color of
of 2 hours.
no, it was the last night. The color of the color of certain bulbs can make it look darker than it is. I actually didn't look at it today during the day at all. It's hard to pass it at night on difficult colors. Yes.
But she stopped on the woman checking every day. During the 7?
She checked every day. She told me she checked every day. Yeah. Even if she hadn't, if she had checked on the 1st and the 2nd, and then today it would have been fine. But she did. Okay.
That's how it was delivered or no? What isn't it delivered in plastic or something? I mean, I'm just saying, just in an envelope like that.
That was in an
and
envelope.
It's a week old. Yeah, that in itself would be problematic.
I don't know. No. Sometimes it could absorb it, but I don't think there was anything in the paper. I didn't see anything on the. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it was affected by it.
There must be people, a certain percentage of people that would have decided on their own just to wait till the next day. It doesn't
Yeah.
look good, let me try again on Thursday.
Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of people, especially people who are a little bit queasy about having men, like women who are queasy about having men touch the cloths, and they feel but some of them don't send at all. When they have a shaila, they're machmer. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying it happens sometimes. That people. Well, I mean, sometimes one night can be significant in terms of being able to get pregnant.
Because that's supposed to be the night that this.
It's usually around that time, so it could be difficult. Okay.
I had a mice almost 30 years ago like that. But most of the Shema, the shadow was, it's Friday night.
Mhm.
So I walked to the nightclub.
Mhm.
And the lady was giving my wife a hard time.
Mhm.
Like, no, it's Friday night, wait till next night.
Mhm.
So she's over at my court, and he said, if you can walk, you go.
Mhm.
So sure I can walk. So we walked, she walked, and she became pregnant from that.
Wow.
So
Serious nefesh. Serious nefesh.
The lady tried to discourage her. She didn't want to be there, so it was her job.
she said, you have to come to my house and walk me to the mikveh because it's Friday night. But she does. No. There are people that she has a guard that comes. So you let the guard do it.
Which mikveh was this? No, I'm just saying 30 years ago.
I think it's the same lady.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It used to be, but I think she's recently stopped. I think so. That's what I hear. So, oh yeah, that brings me actually to another thing that I mentioned later on, but I may as well mention it now. What if a person wants to be strict on a color that was paskined leniently? They go to the Rav, and the Rav paskins that it's okay. Are they allowed to be machmer? They did. They asked, and they got a psak, and they want to be machmer.
Well, what you've written is that one may, but not on size.
Sorry?
You wrote that one may, but not on size.
Oh, exactly. So here's the thing. There is a halacha in Yeridea that I think I mentioned in the past. A behema shahoyer by chacham, a bal nefesh will be machmer on it. If there is a behema that had a shaila on its kosher status because of whatever, the lungs, the liver, the stomach, who knows what, and the chacham had to give a psak. It wasn't a clear halach on Shulchan Aruch, the hole on this side, this size is okay. It was a comparison, one case to another case, similar. Oh, he came up with a psak, it's okay. No, the Chacham has no doubt. He made a comparison, logical, 100%. He paskins 100% it's kosher. Nevertheless, because it's a hayrah, it's a psak, it's not clear, he had to come to his own conclusion. Bal nefesh will be machmer. So there's room to say the same thing on a color. Even though he's sure, but he had to think about it, he had to compare it, he had to think. There's some colors that there's nothing to think about. But a person who wants to be machmer, he can be machmer. It's not a crazy thing. Well, maybe you thought it would be simple and easy. And the Rav hemmed, and he hawed, and he walked back and forth, and he called another Rav, and that. And finally he said it's okay. Maybe you're not so comfortable with the psak. So, however, he brings from somebody, I don't remember, maybe some sefer, that this is not true about a size. If it's under a gris, you cannot be machmer. Why not? Because Chachamim didn't make the gzeira. What are you going to say? That I want to be machmer on the Chachamim? That you can't do. You can't be machmer on a psak of the Torah. You understand? You can be machmer on a comparison of a Chacham, but not a psak of the Torah.
What's a bal nefesh? Like the definition.
That's a difficult shaila. What is a bal nefesh?
Someone cares about their neshama. Who doesn't care about neshama?
I'm not sure exactly how to define a bal nefesh, but it's something like a person who is extra careful. But how do you put that into the words? I don't know. Master of his soul. I don't know. Sometimes it says Yirei Shemayim, and sometimes it says bal nefesh.
Bal nefesh, he's more concerned with his neshama,
Maybe that's what it is.
How about then in this world?
Maybe that's what it is. Sorry? Well, this is something some Sofer definitely discusses. Some Sofer says that even though there's a wife involved, and there's a chiyuv, mitzvahs oina min ha-Torah, nevertheless, the husband has the right to become more religious, even if he wasn't so far from when he was married. When he got married, he was a little bit, on the easier side, but he became a little bit more on the more religious side. That's okay, and that's in general. Women like their husbands to be more religious, and she married him with the hope that he would become more religious. So when he does, and even though it imposes on her, it's considered as if she accepted that possibility. That's an interesting shaila. She wants to be machmer, not him. Interesting shaila.
See that?
Interesting shaila. I don't see a difference. Unless you say that he was never makambel that. The husbands usually, do that, but not the wives. So maybe the husband wasn't makambel that in the first place. I don't know. It's an interesting question.
Even if she's not good, says speak for night. They've been together however long. This is ridiculous. The rabbi said yes.
That's the Chasam Sofer, yeah. I mean, I don't know if he was talking about this case in particular, or in general, a different chumrah. You know what I mean? A different chumrah. But that's what he says. Okay.
Color you can be strict on.
Yeah.
Can be extra strict on.
Sheer not.
Why would you ask just because you couldn't figure out if it's a grist or not?
Maybe.
It's a close call.
Maybe. Although, for argument's sake, if there is a question about the sheer grist and you want to be machmer like a smaller sheer, that you could be. In other words, even if the Rav paskins that it's okay based on a bigger sheer, you want to go by a smaller sheer, it's okay. There has to be an opinion that you're going by. You can't just be machmer stam because you want to be machmer. That you can't do because there's a woman involved, your wife, right? But if there's an opinion that says it's a smaller grist, for example, there is an opinion that nowadays we should go lower to the size of the blood and common insects now. Okay, that's something else. I don't know what that size is, but I'm saying if there's an opinion that you're hanging yourself on, then you could.
Sometimes I think you ask the child because you want them both to agree with you, so you don't have to battle your spouse. Then it's on the rope shoulders, not on yours.
Right, but if it's clearly smaller than a grist, then you have motion. So then why would you ask? You're asking because you're not sure if it's small.
Who said you asked? Maybe you didn't ask. You just want to be machmer because you want to be machmer. Blood. I want to be machmer.
I'm not saying not the color, the actual size. That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's saying because it says that you can't be overly machmer when it comes to the size of the grist.
Right.
So you would ask on the size of the grist when you're not sure if it's the size of a grist and it's a close call. I guess that's it.
Or the shape of the grist.
Right, or the shape.
Yeah. All of the above.
And if he says, even if he does the back and forth, like you were saying, look, this, let me get my, says, it's.
If he's sure that it's less than a grist.
Yeah.
Because that's a simple measurement.
You can't say that you can't go back and say, you know what?
No, unless there's a smaller grist. Like I said, unless there is a smaller grist that you're going by.
Right.
There has to be an opinion.
Right, that you're going by. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, if he does the back and forth, like you were saying, and says,
Yeah, but here it's a measurement. It's not a logical comparison. It's not an inference. You understand? It's a measurement.
No, I understand that, but if it's a close call and you're kind of giving, and the Rebbe's trying
I'm not
to,
sure.
the Rebbe's trying to figure out, is this a close call? Is it, is it more? Is it less? Maybe this angle.
I'm not sure. In general, a measurement is a measurement, but if it's close, maybe there's going to be machmer. Not sure.
Sometimes it's just the wrong thing.
Yeah, usually it's better that way. You have less to worry about.
It's good.
Sorry, what's better?
Yes. I'm sorry?
What's better? Which way?
When the Rav gives you a psak and doesn't give you his back and forth of it. That way you don't have to have it on your mind. No, it's okay, and that's it. Although the Rav might, if he is sharing it with you, he might think you're a Baal Nefesh. And you want to know that there are options. Okay. We said that already. Okay, perfect.
The person who isn't machmer, be given like din and shalim, but you should have been more.
No.
So what's the? You scared like what, if the Rav said yes? What's the bonus? Unless someone cares about the shalim.
He wants to go beyond any doubt whatsoever. So, because there's a doubt, there's an opinion, there's some possibility. You're not going to get. I mean, in Masechta Sukkah about Rabbi Gamliel, they brought him some fruit, some water. He said, "Bring it up to the sukkah." Usually, you're not chayv in a sukkah for fruit and for water. And then Rabbi Tzadok, they brought him. It was grain food, but it was a kibetza, not more than a kibetza. And he ate outside the sukkah. And he didn't wash his hands. And he didn't bench. 3 kulas. Why does the Mishnah have to tell us his kulas? To tell us, you want to be machmer, you can be machmer, but you don't have to be. Even Rab Tzadok wasn't machmer. Understand? It's not a... Chumrah is like extra credit. If you don't do extra credit, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong. You understand? It's extra credit. Okay.
The people get carried away with that too. With extra credit and extra credit.
That's true. Especially with Pesach coming up. 6 months. Okay. Okay. If it has a shear, it is tummy, even if the shape is highly unusual. Yes, that we said. If the stain runs through many garments, each garment has a separate shear. This is an important point. I don't think we mentioned this. Let's say she's wearing her undergarments as well as her dress, and maybe the dress has different layers, whatever it is. Each stain of each garment is measured separately, and if each one is less than a gris, then it's okay, even though the conglomerate of all the shiurim is more than a gris. Also. Yep.
So if combined it would have been a gris, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
The colors also the same thing. If it was faded a little bit differently on one over the other.
Anything that is not. Every color individually. If
you have multiple spots on the same article of clothing that add up to a gris, if they're, is there a difference between whether them being 2 millimeters, 2 inches, and 2 feet apart?
No difference whatsoever. If they're joined, then it's a problem. If they're separate, even by 1 millimeter, it's no problem. If the Rav has to get out his magnifying glass, so be it. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's close call. I had a shaila like that, actually. I don't use my glass for every shaila. But sometimes you see something, and halachically you don't have to. If you cannot see, if it doesn't look red with your naked eye, it's not red. And if it does, it is red. You don't have to look at something with a... Just want to make sure there's nobody waiting outside for us. No. So you don't have to use it. But if it's something that you're not sure about with your naked eye, so then the glass can help you clarify it. So no, it just so happens a week or so ago, before Sukkot, there was a shaila, and with the glass, it clearly looked reddish. Like without the glass, it was hard to tell.
What if you have a visibility issue? It's dark outside. There was a hurricane, passed out for 3 or 4 days, so everyone's kind of on hold.
No power. You don't need power to pass. The daylight is the best.
It's dark outside. There's no daylight.
No daylight?
There's
What, a volcano?
Daylight. It's not right. It's dark outside. You're not getting clear light.
Cloudy day.
In a cloudy day.
The end of the world is upon us.
Not today is a cloudy day.
I mean, a cloudy day is no problem for investors. For Kesamim. No, I just want to tell you. In general, you don't need clear sunlight. On the contrary, you're supposed to be in the shade.
Right.
Cloudy day is perfect for looking at Kesamim.
Really dark cloudy day?
Really dark? I don't know.
There's a really dark.
Yeah, if there's a volcanic eruption and it's dark, then yes, then it might be hard to pass. But a normal cloudy day, it's not difficult. It's That's normal. On the contrary, that's the best way, is with obscured sunlight. Okay. But in general, if you're not sure, you can't paskin. That's all. That's just a rule.
But it doesn't have to be with the Kehalacha. You can use magnification.
To help you, yeah.
Magnification, but extra light is sometimes a problem, right?
Because it changes the color.
Well, extra light that's not daylight can make it can change the color. Okay.
Something like they did with the that light box that they created for lettuce and all that to see better. Isn't there some kind of
The Taharah app. I told you about the Taharah app.
that has the right?
They're working on it now.
No, but something that has the actual light perfectly that you can just look under or something.
Oh, like a daylight light,
Yeah.
a daylight light box.
Yeah.
No, there are a bunch that have a daylight lamp. Like it's you can buy a bulb that's called daylight. It gives you the same shade of light as daylight. That's what they use at night. Okay. Regarding a stain only in the body, it is best to machmir a small shear, but with the sifat laka walk lenient. Basically, we have the Rambam who says to be machmir if it's only on the body, not on the garment at all, not to give you a sheer gris. On the other hand, if it's on the body and on the garment, then you definitely have a sheer gris even according to the Rambam. Now, the Machaber did not paskin; he brought both opinions, and even the Alter Rebbe did not paskin clearly. And therefore, it's better to be machmer, but there's room to be makel if you have another reason to be makel.
Any size on the body would be.
Any size on the body would be a problem, correct. If it's only on the body. Okay. On the body, definitely many spots are joined for one shear, because we said that in addition to the Rambam who is machmer on any spot on the body, there are others, I think it was the Ravid, who even though he's not machmer like that, but he is machmer on being mitzaref different spots on the body. A few spots are considered joined for one. So even if you don't pass like the Rambam, at least like that chumrah we do take.
Only on parts of the body.
Only on the body, not on a shear, not on beged.
No, I'm saying parts
Right,
of the
and
body.
only on certain parts of the body. That we got.
Yes, certainly. So, yes. Yeah, we're talking about stains that are close to each other. We're not talking about a spot on the big toe and a spot on the
In your leg?
hand. Talking about different spots.
Not a spot on the inner leg and then the toe?
No.
Even if it drips? Like a skin?
No. Don't believe so. Just look that up.
Meaning if it's just made like a little splash, and it's like a little here, a little here, a little here, a little here.
On the body, yeah, you would connect it. You can-
It's a close by.
So it's-
well done.
So here's the case. Many drops close to one another.
Hey, what was that last part?
Even if they would gather into be a gris, it would still be tahar. Because we say every one comes from a kina. Yesh oimrim, danim ilkrim so chaluka. Alin so basar, if they're found on her flesh, in that same case, tippin smuchen zelazeh, in that same case, mitzdarf and the they are mitzdarf.
So that's the Yishalom. The halacha said it's fine.
No, that's not the halacha. This is the only opinion. Whenever there's a stam and a yeshayim, we follow like the stam. But when there's only a yeshayim, we pass like the yeshayim.
But there was two opinions in one Yishalom?
No. The first opinion did not differentiate between a body and the beged. It just said we're not mitzaref it. The Yesh Omrim qualifies that and says, when do we say that? Only on the beged and not on the body. And he doesn't bring another opinion. You understand? He doesn't say V'yesh Matirim. You understand? And in the first opinion, he didn't say whether in the beged or in the body. He kind of left it open. So it's more mashma that he's passing like the Yesh Omrim. You understand? Because that's the only one he explicitly says. So as opposed to if you go back to Sivav, for example, when he brings the Rambam, the first opinion he brings is how to be shir ben because it's the whole right? That the shear is both on the guf and on the bas and on the beged. And then Yesh Omrim, no, that not on the basa. You don't need a shear. So there he specifies in both cases. So it would seem. Okay. One can join another tliya together with less than a shear gris. Some say this only works up to the shear of blood found in present-day insects. Okay, this is an interesting thing he brings. A woman has a tliya because she shechted a bird, and the bird has this amount of blood, and she found that amount of blood plus a gris. Okay, no problem. She's still okay. Because it so happens that the mosquito blood or whatever the lice blood ended up exactly together with the bird blood.
But what do you mean a certain amount of blood? I mean, I don't understand practically how that works.
How do you know how much blood a bird has? I guess if you shecht birds, you know how much they have. I mean, a bird is just an example. It could be anything. She was with beets. She was with grain. She was with food coloring. I don't know. And she knows how much. So the point is that we can be mitzaref the two. There's two reasons to be mekel. However, here he has an interesting chumrah that he brings in. In this case, some say that you need to have only the shear of the blood of a present-day insect.
And then that be the louse?
You can use the tliya, whatever tliya she has, whatever blood she was with, or whatever other color she had, and that amount, plus the amount that a present-day insect would have. But not exactly the shear of gris of ancient times. Why? Because they say the whole concept of using the shear of ancient times is because Chazal said that shear, and that's it. Anything less than that shear, it's just not included in the gzeir. That's only if the whole stain is less than that shear. But here you have a big stain, and you want to blame this and this and this and that under the gzeir of Chazal, because it's not. It's more than the gzeir of Chazal. But we have an excuse for it. Okay, what's your excuse? Well, I have one excuse of a bird, another excuse of a mosquito. So when you're using excuses instead of going by the shear of Chazal, well, now you need real excuses.
Chazal didn't say if you're metasik with a bird and you have a sheer gris.
No.
Chazal never gave that example.
No, that's a much later. That's a much later thing.
We expounded that.
We expanded that exactly because it makes sense. I mean, we can use two tliyas together. There's no reason why not. But I'm saying it's not like it's a blanket heter that you have that plus X shear. You're using the logic to say it. Okay, so it has to be logic. Okay. If a tliya is only discovered after the kesem, one should not rely on it. It's an interesting chiddush that he says. We know that in order to rely on a tliya, you have to know that that tliya exists. Like you have to say, I actually passed by the butcher area of the city. You can't say maybe I passed by the butcher area. So therefore he says, if when the question came up, the tliya already existed, then you can rely on it. But if after the question came up, the tliya started then, and you're not sure if you can use it retroactively. In other words, she first found the blood, for example, and then she found a wound. But she doesn't know if she had the wound before or not. So that kli is not going to work
Why? She had
because
maybe the one came afterwards.
exactly.
So let's say in a case where she doesn't remember exactly she went through the butcher shop, but she's able to check on her phone if she passed by it afterwards, but she doesn't realize.
What do you mean afterwards?
Yeah, but her husband will say to her, "Didn't you pass by the butcher shop today?" She goes, "No, I wasn't even close to the butcher." He says, "Yes, you were. I saw on the whatever. I have a tracker.
Okay.
Right by the butcher shop."
Okay. Well, if he can place her at the butcher shop before the stain was found, that's fine.
Oh.
No,
That she was
after it's
there
not going to help
before
her.
the
She was
stain was
for
found.
exactly. He can figure it out after, but as long as he knows after that she was there before. But knowing that she may have been there is not enough. Or knowing that she was there at some point, but not knowing that she was there before is also not enough. So that's what it is. Okay. Whenever a stain is found only on the body, one cannot use an external kliya, only an internal one, i.e. a wound. Or she has blood on her hands. Okay, this is an interesting, it's not really a chiddush because I think we learned it before, but it's something that's worth remembering. All the kliyas that we allow you to use, butcher shops and who knows what else, they're only good for blood on a garment. If blood is found on the body and only on the body, none of those kliyas work. Because damnida comes from the body and is found on the body. So we're going to associate with damnida. Butcher blood does not come from the body, it comes from somewhere else. So how did it get to the body? It could have gotten there. But we would rather associate blood on the body with blood from the body. The only kliya that works when it's on the body is another source of blood on the body, like if she has a cut, or if she had blood on her hands. No, it's not just that she went to a butcher shop. She was actually working with blood on her hands. So it was already on the body. So then maybe it went to another part of the body. Yes?
You said you also want to clear when the blood is on the body. Depends on which part of the body.
If it's only on the body and not on a beged,
But it depends where also.
well, if it's not on the part of the body that it could come from Oisei Mokam, you don't even need a tliya. Even if you have no tliya, she's tahara because it couldn't have come from there. If she finds it on her upper body, right? She'll be okay.
No, but then if she did a flip, if she was to do a handstand on all the stuff.
I understand. But even if she did a handstand, if it's only on the body,
So you can't use.
One time.
Because she was lifting over them, but she did a handstand. She flipped.
yeah, if she did a handstand and it's on her body, then she'll be tamei.
What part of the body? The upper body?
Well, if she did a handstand, then anywhere on the body, upper.
If it's only on the upper, if it's nowhere else.
But she did a handstand, so maybe it came at that point. Period doesn't have to go on for a long time. It could be a small thing. That's it.
So Talia cannot be used if blood is found on the body. That's the rule.
A tliya, that's an external tliya, only an internal tliya, unless it's found on the body and on the hands and on the beged. Hello. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Thank you. She did it to see if she could do a hefsek later, but not as a hefsek itself. It's not pashut. It's not pashut. I don't know if it works. The pashtus she has to be doing it bekavana, because otherwise maybe she didn't do it properly. At least for a badika, yeah. At least for a badika, for a halachic purpose, not stam for curiosity. L'chura, I would have to look it up, which I cannot do at this moment, but l'chura not. Right, unless she was thinking that maybe I'll use it or something. All right, I'll look it up later. All right, call to buy. All right, you heard the shayla? A woman did a hefsek, and then she got messed up because she was bleeding during the Shiva Nikiyah. And then in the morning, one of the mornings,
Here or in the show?
in the Shiva Nikiyah, she got messed up. She did one hefsek, and then she got messed up. So now, one morning, she decides she's going to check herself to see if today is going to be a good day for another hefsek. So she checked herself. Morning. And then she forgot and she didn't do a hefsek. Can she count the morning hefsek as a hefsek? In general, you're supposed to do a hefsek always close to shkia. That's a martochok, even better. But b'diavad, if it's not the first day, I mean, it's a machlokes, but you could be makel. If it's not the first day, if it's the first day, you can never do it. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't work in this case because she didn't intend for it to be a halachic
Which
hefsek.
day was this one?
What do you mean? It was the hefsek.
She's trying to start
That's the
over.
question.
That's what I mean. When did she get messed up? Which day?
What's the difference?
She's starting over now. She's
What's
trying
the
to
difference?
get, she's trying to get day number one.
Now she's starting over. Doesn't make a difference what she got messed up on. That wasn't the history. Now she's starting to start now.
This day one.
The next day will be day one. Now it's a hefsek. Point is, I'm pretty sure it says that a woman who does a hefsek without intending for it to be a hefsek or even a bedika, it's not halachically valid. Because whenever you do something without intent, for halachic intent, it's not considered that you were careful. Understand? Even though you say, yeah, I was careful, but it's not proper care because you didn't think it was relevant.
So I don't want to say stam, a careful bedika without a machdoch through Benish Malicious.
That can count as a hefsek.
So we just do machdoch because it's a better way to know.
It's a better way to know, and in some cases you need it. So we say always do it just in case.
On the first day.
Yeah, correct.
But when we did a bedika the first day, we don't invalidate her retroactive.
Oh, without a martochok? No.
As long as you check normally.
Yeah. There are some cases when you need a martochok. We'll get to that in Mitzvah 196. Okay. One. Clean the body. 12. If a married woman, 12? If a married woman shared a garment with an unmarried woman who has already had her period, the married woman can blame a kesamim on the unmarried one. Even if she's not presently getting a period, simply because she never did a hefsek. Another interesting chiddush. We've learned in the past about blaming a woman who's in a different status than me, or than the one woman. One woman is Taharah, and one is Nida. And one is Taharah, one is in the Shiva Nikiyim. One is in the Shiva Nikiyim, and one is an actual Nida. You know, the difference, you can always blame it on the one who's worse off, right? What if one is married and one is unmarried, but neither of them are having their period now? But for the one who's married, it's important. For the one who's not married, it doesn't make a difference. So you would like to blame it on her, but what's the halachic basis for that? I mean, the fact is she's not having a period, so why should we just blame it on her randomly? The answer is very simple. Till she does a hefsek, halachically she's considered to be having a period. She's a nida. Without a hefsek, we've never established that she stopped bleeding. So therefore, it's no problem to blame it on her. Interesting thing. All right, number 13. If she found a kesam in her hands and she doesn't remember touching the private area, she can bleed out to the size of a gris.
What? meaning she knows it's blood. Not just red. Meaning, let's say she wasn't cooking. We're talking about a case like she didn't. She knows there's no reason to have red on her hands.
This is an interesting chiddush, and I don't remember the reason for it. Maybe somebody can enlighten me. What he's basically saying is, let me put it to you in other words. Even though the Rambam is strict, and he says that that on the body you don't need a shia gris, even less than a shia gris is tamei. The hands are different. If it's on the hands, you can be mekel up to a shia gris. Unless she actually touched the private area, her hands, if she remembers. So then we're not going to be mekel any amount of blood. It's going to make her tummy. I'm not going to say maybe it's from something else.
Can't say a dime, a skanyotan. It's not like the feet. What do the feet touch? The hands are all over the place. Maybe she had maybe there's red on the chair, maybe underneath the table, maybe.
But you need a specific kliya. You need a specific
On
kliya.
your hands though? Even
What's the difference? What do
Did
you
you know
mean?
she didn't touch her private part? A woman, is that what we're saying? A woman who finds blood on her hands.
A woman finds blood on her hands.
Usually women don't touch her private part, let's say during the day. She found now at work, she lifts her hand and she goes, oh my gosh, I have blood on my hand. More than a wrist. More than a wrist. So she has to say that's a wait, did you say that because she leaned? Up to the size of a wrist.
It would be unusual during the day, especially when she's clothed, for her hands to be there. I think we did discuss this once. Okay, so he says, first of all, he points out that it doesn't have to be that she actually touched the private area. Could be she just simply put it under the private area and it could have fallen onto it. You understand? So it's basically like her. Oh, so then, as far as the underwear is concerned, it's a difficult chumrah, but here's what he says. He says, even though Lachronim are mekel on any stain found on a woman's garments, but not found on her underwear, and she was wearing the underwear the whole time, it was not like she put them on after she was wearing the garment. She put on the underwear first, and then she put on the garment. And when she put on the garment, it was clean. And then she finds it on the garment, only not on the underwear. Taharah. Because how to get on the garment without the underwear? Right? That's that we said. He says, even though that surah applies to the body too, she was, when she got up, she was okay. She had no blood on her hands. She put on the underwear. And then later on in the day, she finds blood on her hands, and her underwear is on the whole time. So how did it get on her hands if not? I mean, if her underwear is clean, how could it be damnida on her hands? That's a svara, but nevertheless, he doesn't want to rely on that svara, seeing that we're more machmir with stains on the body in general. Maybe the svara of tight underwear is not going to go so far to be make on stains on the body. So
And what, it dripped on her hand? Did he added the underwear onto her hand? What you were saying in the case where the underwear also has, the underwear does not have.
Does not have. Underwear has
Underwear
that.
doesn't have, and it's a tight elastic normal underwear in her hand. We say it was underneath her private area and received the blood instead of the underwear.
Right. Very unusual. Or that maybe she actually did put her hand there for some reason, which is hard to understand. I think we did discuss this somewhere, sometime, that nowadays it's not normal for a woman to do that, and maybe it's not going to be an issue. I don't remember who said that. Give me a second. Shir Shevet Halevi Kuf Tzaddik Sefir Aleph Ois Gimel. Kol zman she'aleches and beged atachton in lochos hakasan yodea. Lo yishchiach shetemash misham b'stam tzorach iyah. Rav Wosner brings that logically it should be okay. First of all, the underwear was protecting, and there's no blood in the underwear, so what's the problem? As far as touching oisem makom, it's not common. It's not
There is
common.
blood in the underwear, and it's a black underwear.
So then that would show that the blood on the hands could be a problem. You understand? Anyway, he says he stays with the question on it. He doesn't pass it. But logically, he seems to state that it should be okay because it's no longer normal for a woman to touch that part. Stop. All right, so we'll stay with the question on this. Right. If a woman was wearing tight underwear and the stains found on other garments and her underwear, she's Taharah. She's wearing underwear the entire time that the stain may have appeared. Should say stain. Up 1 second. Ladies see men apply when the stain is found on her body. We just said that. If the stain is found on the mattress, not on the bottom sheet, and it had tight elastic was properly put on the bed, she is Taharah. That makes sense, yes? 17, for a garment to be considered beged baduk, it has to have been kept in a place that is safe from being stained, e.g. was washed and put into the drawer pretty soon afterwards. That is considered a beged baduk, which could make her trouble. If it's not like that, if it hangs around the house for an indefinite amount of time before it gets put away, then it's not a beged baduk. One can blame one stain on the same unknown source of another stain. Another is misspelled. That's what happens when you get up before in the morning. Okay, this.
Are you able to upgrade this note and put next to every number up to which Siman is it? More or less?
7190.
Siman is easy.
Yeah. Save.
It's not a. I didn't go by Seifim. I went by thank God. Well, we're good. We're good. We're good. Did the alarm call you?
Okay. 1 hour and 10 minutes. It was almost 8 o'clock.
That's what I'm not suited on the units,
Sorry.
unfortunately. You would have all been dead if it was very long, unfortunately.
Sorry.
Who's the owner of the church, or who's in charge?
I'm in charge of this class. But I didn't know the code. It's not usually set when I come because the guy before me knows I'm coming. Today it was set, so it took me a few minutes to figure it out.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you know who's in charge of the whole facility, or no?
I do. I have his number if you want.
No, we just need to put a name on a card.
Rabbi Wolf. His name is Wolf.
Rabbi Wolf?
Eli Wolf.
Eli Wolf.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate it. Enjoy your
Okay, sure.
Get shot. He's like, we're fine.
No, I said it was the guy that come to clean.
Yeah, I know, that was the spotty. I thought it was-
Look at it. Oh, it's minutes to come, like, you can be dead long time ago.
That was really funny, though. The guy would have taken everything and left already.
That happens a lot when some of the alarms have a code. Your number is 1, 2, 3, 4. You do 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. It dispatches silently, right? So sometimes people slip and they push the wrong thing. It goes off, but then they come about an hour later. They're surprised to see you partying or whatever, and you're surprised to see them. You didn't know you made a mistake in dispatch.
Sure. It's like, don't want a piece of house.
That was interesting. All right.
That's a fast dollars more.
Yeah.
So that means that when the alarm went off and they called somebody, or more than one, nobody answered. To say that
Oh, is that what happened?
they would have called somebody, the rabbi. Or
Oh, that's interesting.
or copy or whatever, and they would have said, no, it's fine, it's a mistake. But they couldn't reach anybody.
That's
so they had to
interesting.
dispatch.
Interesting.
Now I said, I don't know what's happening, bro.
Right, or they said, I don't know what's happening.
That's interesting.
So now it counts as one of the false alarms.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you pay after a certain amount. Ouch.
No, one is a problem.
All right.
It's probably not the only one.
We probably did 6 of them already.
No, it never happened here.
No,
Not for me. What was the code again? 557. 55771. All right. What do you have to do? Like within 10 seconds of it?
No.
30 seconds?
No.
30
It could be
seconds?
30 to 1 minute.
30 minutes or something to get in.
Most likely between 30 seconds and 60 seconds.
Sorry. All right. Next time. All right. What were we saying? We were in the middle of saying something. 18. Okay, one can blame one stain on the same unknown source. The sources. It's all in the Taharah Kehalacha. It's not in the Shulchan Aruch. I didn't use the Shulchan Aruch for this because he's saying things that are not so clear. You understand? Some of them are clear, just to review, but some of them are things that he's saying that we didn't learn. Yeah. Okay. One can blame one stain on the same unknown source of another stain. This only works if both are on the garment or on her body, or the unknown is on the body. But if the unknown was on the garment, one cannot blame the source for the stain on the body. All right, I hope somebody understood that because I didn't. All right, again, let me explain. This is totally unclear, so I have to explain it. Then you can rewrite it in your own words. Listen carefully. If a woman has a stain that is definitely not from Nida. She doesn't know where it's from, but it's definitely not Nida. For example, it's on her upper body, and she didn't flip, right? So therefore, we know that something happened that caused her to have the stain. We don't know what it is, but we know there's some explanation for the stain. We don't know what it is, but we know that there is. So then we can even blame a stain on her lower body on that same explanation, even though we don't know what it is, but we know there's something, so that could explain both. However, this only works from garment to garment or from body to garment, but not from garment to body. Meaning to say, if it's on her upper garment, so then it can explain a stain on her lower garment. If it's on her upper body, it can also explain the garment. But if it's on the upper body and on the, upper garment and the lower body, that's not going to be good enough. Because in general, there's a higher standard on the body than on the garment, right? Because the body is where the nida comes from. We associate it more, and the garment is more external. So therefore, if the unexplained stain is on the garment and the stain that's a problem is on the body, then we cannot blame one or the other.
About the stains that they were different size.
Yes. The size is approximately a dime. I don't remember what it is.
What I'm saying, the stain from the upper body to the lower body, they're different.
I mean, the upper body in general is not a problem unless she did a flip. Otherwise, we assume that the stain on the upper body is from something else. Oh, actually, in terms of this halacha, yeah, if on the upper body it's less than a gris, that is not going to explain a stain that's on the lower body more than a gris, because the upper body less than a gris is from a mosquito. So that doesn't explain the lower body that is evidently not a mosquito. You understand? In order for this whole thing to work, the upper body has to be more than a gris. So then you must say that it's some other explanation. Then you can give that explanation, whatever it is, for the bottom also. Okay. "19. If the edges of a stain are red and they have a shear of more than a gris, one must be strict even if one has a clear for the blood, unless they appear to be two stains that merged."
They said the edge, which means it's separate or it's like still connected.
Is it like meniscus?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's the problem.
Remember we talking about the meniscus, that the volume would count.
I really don't know what I mean here. I don't know what I mean here. If the edges of a stain are red and they have a shear of more than a gris, so far so good, yeah? One must be strict even when it's clear for the blood. Why?
What do you mean? Why wouldn't you be strict? It's more than a gris.
But it says one has a tliya, so what's the problem? One has a tliya.
Oh, not a.
So think about when you say one of the things in the two different stains. It's close to each other.
I have to find this.
If you have a clear, why can't you lean on this?
Right, I have to find this. Give me a second. No, the garment. All right, now I understand what I wrote. Here it is, my friends. I have to add one thing. And the Mare Tahar in the center is definitely from Oisoi Makoim. The blood. Let's see if it is okay. Here's what it is, my friends. Listen carefully. A woman has a problem that she has. I mean, it's not a problem necessarily, but the fact is she has hafroshot. How do you say hafroshot in English? Secretions. She has secretions from Oisei Makom, not blood. What happens? Women have different things that come out, and that's normal for her. Now you find that she has a color that's a normal color for her to have, a tahar color, and then around the edges of the blood of that stain is a red stain, and it's more than a gris. But it so happens that she has an excuse for the blood, because she passed by a butcher shop, for example. That excuse is not going to work.
What? But he said like it's from Russia.
Oh, that's the point. That's the whole point. Because the hafrasha is from Oisamakim, so even though she also has a butcher shop explanation, but that would be good for another stain of blood. But here, this stain of blood is around the color that comes from Oisamakim, so it's clearly also from Oisamakim. You see that it's one stain. It's not a different stain. Like I said there, unless they appear to be two stains that merged. If it looks like two different stains that just happen to be next to each other, then you could be megal using a tliya. But if it looks like the edges of that stain, and you know that the center comes from Moisei Makam because it looks like those secretions, those hafashot that she has, so then you're going to have to explain that the red comes from there also, and it's a problem. That being said, if it's less than a gris, we're still megal because we said that insects like to go to smelly areas, and because there was some hafrasha there, that's why the insect went there, and it got crushed, and its blood dried around in a circle because that's the nature. It pushes out the stronger colors and whatever. But if it's more than a gris, so we don't have that tzvara, so then we're not going to say that it just happened to come and look like it's one stain. We're going to say it's actually from her. So it's Tamea, exactly. All right. Yep.
So, I think you say the blood from the butcher first, it will go on the underwear, and not in the other garment before, the skirt, or makes sense.
It would be highly unlikely for blood to splash up all the way onto her underwear without reaching any other part of her. Yeah, especially if you can see that the blood came from the inside. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can see where it came from. So then there's no butcher shop is going to help you in that case. If the garment was lost, number 20, after it had a stain during the first 3 days of the Nikiyim, one should be strict. During the 3 days in general was stricter. So here's the case where a garment was lost. This is the Rav's worst nightmare, where he gets a shaila and he can't find it. And he didn't, if he passed about it already, it's one thing, but he got a shaila. He lost it. I'm just saying, because she could lose it, he could lose it, but it just so happens that it's the Rav's worst nightmare if this happens to him, if it's his fault. So what do you do? So if it's the first 3 days, you don't lose it, is what you don't. That's what you do. But if it happens, so he says, if it's the first 3 days, you cannot be megal. In general, we're more machmir in the first 3 days. After this, one should be strict if it looked red, but if it only looked reddish, there may be room to be lenient. He doesn't give up sack.
Two people from two different women.
Yeah.
For the rub. And one of them is happened to be tall, one of them comes to stomach.
Yeah, it was just.
Well, if it got mixed up, you know that it got mixed up.
So how are we gonna know which one to tell her?
Well, he should call them back and ask them to identify it. No, I'm serious. No, that's not going to help.
What do you mean to identify?
If they can tell which is their cloth. Maybe she can tell. Maybe she remembers.
Maybe different size Vika cloths they use.
Yeah, or maybe just the color. Maybe they'll remember from the color. Yeah. If it could have been less than a gris, one can be lenient. That's interesting sack there. If the shaila was not about the color, it was about the size, he says one can be lenient. What's the reason for that? I wonder why. Give me a second. $148 million.
About the minimum size. I think the bush like I said of like almost 19 millimeters, no?
Yeah, Hailstocker.
According to the doctor, it's 14. No?
Let's see.
What did you say?
No, the largest size is the Stucco. Male Stucco or the Stucco?
Male Stucco.
19 millimeters. So the other one's less.
What's 19 millimeters compared to nickel?
It's more like a nickel, yeah.
Nickel is much larger than the dime.
$17 millimeters.
Like who, according to them?
Alter. Okay,
What's the standard use size?
most people do 19. Yeah. Alter is more machmer, but the oilim does 19.
How do you pass them?
No, Chabad.
Even if it's you usually get
Somebody asks me a shaila, I go by Chabad. If they specifically say, give me a psak of the oilam or of whatever other thing, if I know it, I'll tell them. But if they ask me, then I go by how I usually pass. So
there's another opinion besides 19 and 17?
I think so. Not that I know of. If it could have been part of a garment, part needs to be fixed. If it could have been part of a garment which would not make her tmeya, she must be. Oh, sorry. If it could have been on a part of a garment, yeah, I see. Okay, now I got it. In other words, if the suffix is if it's on the upper part of the garment, the lower part of the garment, if that's the suffix. So once again, oh no, here she must be strict. Yeah, he has the whole reason for it, but that's the bottom line. Okay, if the stain is on a garment which has white and colored, one need only measure the stain of the white. Some say that the colored part interrupts. So first of all, one does not have to measure the colored part. And then there's another chiddush. And even if it's one stain, but some say the colored part actually divides the stain into two. So we consider like two stains. And you have a shear, up to a shear gris in each one. That's a machlokes.
What's the difference? What's the separation?
A colored part of the garment. It's like a patchwork quilt.
Colored part of the garment.
Yeah. In a case of great need, a woman can wear even colored underwear or a pad that's not makabel tumah during the Shiva and the Kiyum. Okay, this is something that happens from time to time. Women have trouble getting to the mikveh, and they can get a heter sometimes if it's a great need to wear colored garments during the Shiva and the Kiyum, or pads that are not makabel tumah, and that way they can get to the mikveh.
So and what do we tell them? B'dikas every day also?
No, they can sometimes first and last exactly, or first and fourth and last, depending on how desperate it is. So
That's if they're not able.
if otherwise they're not going to be able to go to the mikveh, exactly.
So they're never getting settled.
Right. Garments made of synthetic fibers are makabel tumah. Interesting psak, important psak. In other words, you might think, well, the Torah specifies exactly what garments makabel tumah, and polyester is not mentioned. So that's true if it's just like polyester sheets, like flat sheets, not formed. But once it's formed into a actual beged, then it is makabel tumah. So it's good to know.
Because what? It's a clay.
I'm guessing that, yeah. I'm guessing. I'm sorry? Synthetic is artificial, yeah. Rayon, any of those things.
I'm trying to think
like
of
not
clothing.
make it a lab.
Yeah, not good. Clothing, what would be clothing that's, I guess they're clothing.
I mean, we have many things like that. In other words, there are things that are not makabel tuma. The fact that it's a keli makes it makabel tuma. You understand? The fact that it's a keli. Some things, just the fact that it's a beged, even if it's before it's formed into a keli, just a flat, you know what I mean, a garment, just a, you know what I mean. It's not formed at all. Just a flat piece of cotton. You know, if it's a certain amount, it's considered a beged. You understand? It doesn't have to be formed. But here it has to be formed, so it becomes like a keli, regardless of its status as a beged. Best to use pads that are makabel tuma. Pads better than tampons. Okay, so basically there are pads that are makabel tuma simply because they are like a keli, because they have like two sides with a cotton in the middle. So it's like plastic on the bottom to protect it, so it shouldn't go through, and like another layer of plastic with holes in it to allow the blood in on the top, and cotton in the middle. So that's not an uncommon pad, but that pad, the actual plastic is like a keli. It's like a container for the cotton. So that becomes makabel tuma, and therefore it would make for more shylus on any stain found on that pad. So a better pad is one that does not have that has just like flat piece of pressed cotton, or that's like a mini pad, or even a thicker pad that only has plastic on one side but doesn't actually have plastic on both sides, like holding the cotton. So that would make for less shylus.
Those usually are white.
Yeah,
Compared to color, those things that it's colored.
yeah, that's true. But if it's not makabel tuma, it's okay. It doesn't have to be colored. Pads are better than tampons. Why? Pads are better than tampons for halachic purposes. In terms of stains found on them, because it's not like a bedika. Whereas a tampon, because it's inside of her, it's like a bedika automatically. You have to be strict. Okay, number 27, important thing. A kesem found in the oina of a veses has the same din as one found at other times. That was even though this is the day she's expecting her period, and now she gets a stain, and it's under a gris. Maybe we should be strict. It's on the day of the period. No, same. It's the same. Stain is a stain. It follows all the halachas of a stain, no matter when she gets it during the month. All right, let's go around the table and do a quick quiz. Here we go, my friends. Reb Michal, you ready?
After 9:45.
So, what should we do? I mean, we have 14 minutes. We shouldn't waste them. Just this Siman. Everything will save, when we have another 2 minutes. Why is a kesem not tamei midoiraisa? Thank you very much. What if maybe there was a hargasha? Because maybe she had hargasha, she didn't realize.
She may have had a hargasha. She didn't know she had a hargasha.
No, she doesn't think she had a hargasha, but can you be 100% sure she didn't have a hargasha? Like 100% sure. I'm just for argument's sake.
The
Alter Rebbe said.
That's what the distinction is.
Alter Rebbe says that the reason we're making on a kesem, even though it's possible that she had a hargasha and didn't realize, is because of a sfex feka. Both the fact that she didn't feel she had a hargasha, so it seems that she didn't. Plus, the fact is that we don't know 100% that it's from her body. After all, even if you don't have a tliya, but the fact is you don't know that it came from Moisei Mokseh. So it's like a double suffix. So, Rabbi David Leib, why are the Chachamim strict on a kesem? If after all, we just finished explaining that really it's okay, by Torah law. There's no hargasha, might not be for her body. So what's the reason for the strictness?
That's a good question. I gotta wake up my brain after a moment.
Alter Rebbe says that maybe she did have a hargasha. We mentioned before, maybe she had one without realizing the Chachamim were strict for that reason. Okay. What's the concept of a beged zavua, Ronnie? What's that about?
In the color,
Yeah.
not detected that the stain on it, it's on the white.
Right. Are there any exceptions to that rule? Any cases when, if it's on a beged zavua, we have to be strict?
When? What can we be strict on Sabua?
You tell me?
We don't.
Never?
Never say never, but except to be on the white.
I have a guess.
Except to be on the
Anybody have a guess?
You saw it coming out?
Okay, but then it's
You saw that again?
so coming out has nothing to do with the beged. You saw it coming out. It doesn't make a difference what it's on.
Kasha coming
Hargasha, yeah, exactly. If she had a hargasha, then it's a problem even on a beged zavua, because then it's not as kesem anymore. Then it's deraisa, or a bedika for that matter, which is like a hargasha. Okay, explain the heter, Eitan, of less than a gris. Explain that heter of less than a gris.
It is less than 90 millimeter, which equal to 9 lentils or 34 hairs on the yard.
36, I think. 36. But what's the concept? What's the concept behind it? Why?
It is less than that. What's the concept of that?
What, in other words, we're thinking the blood didn't come from her, rather it came from
Could be from an insect.
an insect, exactly. Are there any exceptions to this rule?
Like, we talk about the butcher, if she passes through the butcher.
No, but I'm saying even if it's smaller than that size, are we ever strict? Are we ever strict if it's smaller than that size? Never? Oh, according to the Rambam, we're strict if it's on her body. If it's on her body as opposed to the garments. That's the machlokes, but that's the Rambam passes. No, doesn't matter. Now, the whole point is that mosquitoes have actual blood that looks like blood. Could be the same color as our blood. Nevertheless, we're not strict. That's also true. Okay, Raphael, explain the heter of Eina Makabel Tuma.
Something that's not Kabbalah.
Yes.
So Chazal only establish something that's in Kabbalah.
Why?
Because we said that it would be strange for I think Chazal says that it would be interesting because even if it's less, it's still the thing is still Makabel to less than the rest. But then she would be Makabel. So we say that if it's more than if it's Makabel, maybe I'm confusing myself. The question was what? What was the original question?
What's the heter of a thing that's Makabel? That's not Makabel Tuma.
So if it's not Makabel Tuma, so we're not then she's not Makabel Tuma because it's less than a gris. So if it's less than a gris, then the thing's not Makabel, but the thing isn't Makabel Tuma, so we're perfectly fine not giving her the status of Tuma. But if the thing is Makabel Tuma, and she's not going to be Makabel Tuma, I don't know if it has to do with the gris or less gris, whatever. Then it would look strange. So we said that if the davar is Makabel Tuma, so she's Makabel Tuma.
I'm not sure if this is what you're saying, but basically the Chassam Sofer says For it to become Tmeya, she doesn't need a Hargash. For the garment to become Tmeya, there doesn't have to be Hargash. So that's the Iker Chumrah started with the garment, because it applies him without Hargasha. That's why they made it on her also. Because you can't say the garment is Tameh and she's Tahar. Once they made it on the garment, they made it on her. But if there is no garment to become Tameh, they didn't make it in the first place. Not sure that's meant to say, but that's what he says.
So it had nothing to do with the Kigris.
Nothing with the
It has
Kigris.
to do with the Hargasha.
It has to do with exactly.
That's right.
And it always has to be a gris, otherwise it could have been from something else. Are there any exceptions to that concept?
So just to clarify the question, are there any exceptions to
That it could be, it could make a Tameh even if it's on a bega that's not Makabel Tama.
if she had Hargasha?
Should be clear to the bunch.
Does she need it leave if it's not Makabel Tama?
Oh, she's not making it.
If it's on a bega that's not Makabel Tama.
If it's on a big, it's not.
Or any item that's not Makabel Tama.
If she had Hargasha?
Exactly. Or if she did a Badika. The average Badika cloth is not Makabel Tama. Right? The size of it is too small to Makabel Tama. Nevertheless, it makes her Tameya, because that's not a Kesem, that's a Hargash. Or it's a possible Hargash. Explain which body parts have the Tuma of Kesamim applying to them. Of Kesamim, of stains.
And to ask about the body parts which would make her.
Exactly.
Okay, so if it's between the legs,
Uh-huh.
not the upper body,
Mhm.
she's doing somersaults or something. Feet.
The whole foot?
Usually towards the big toe area.
Big toe and the foot, but not the other toes, we said. What about her heel? Her heel. What about her heel? We said not unless she sits with her legs crossed.
Indian style.
Exactly. All right.
Can that question be answered by saying, as a general rule,
Mhm.
any area where logically it would be acceptable to Dalmida?
Yes,
And then you can go into the exceptions, I guess.
that's a general rule,
That's
correct.
the general rule. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're just naming off different body parts and all that.
Okay. Explain what sort of clear would work to be lenient on a Kesem. I am. Give me an example of a clear. Give me an example of a clear that would work on a Kesem. Just a random example.
Well, the one that seems to work both from a standpoint of body and garment would be something that is internal, like the wound, the cut.
Okay.
Um,
Are there any exceptions when you cannot use tlias?
yeah, when there's a suffix, when then we just talked about that, when
She's not sure she went through the Shuk Shal Tabachim, because that's not like real clear. But is there any case when you have a clear but you can't use it?
If you found it afterwards,
wasn't we just talked about where you had the secretion?
Oh, Yossi, I forgot to give you a turn.
Oh, yeah,
That's what happens. That's what happens. Thank you for reminding me.
The secretions.
Well, yeah, but there, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I hear it, because there we see that part of it came from her. Yes, Yossi, what do you say?
I said if she found it afterwards.
If you found the Tliya afterwards, that's a good answer. We did mention that. I was thinking the first 3 days is what I was thinking. Or on the body. Or thermal, exactly. Or-
But the garment, but they sit on the lower body and the skin, so you can tell you what was on the garment.
Yeah. In general, we said we're machmir on the body. We can't give you a Tliya unless it's on the body. Exactly. Exactly. All right, Yossi. Explain the difference in halacha now that we have tight underwear. How much of this siman has changed as a result of the discovery of rubber?
And anything that, let's say, well, really finding stains on random bits of clothing, I suppose.
Exactly. Because unless it's on the underwear, we're going to assume that it's not from her. Unless she put on the underwear after she was wearing the clothing.
Yep.
Very good. 2 minutes to go. Reb David Leib, explain the halachas of a shared garment. Two women shared a garment, and a stain was found. Who can they blame each other?
Blame it on the one with the worst status.
With the worst status. What if they have the same status? And what? Yeah.
Both same status.
What? Well, women. We're talking about women here.
Yeah, women.
Both same status. I mean, they're both not neat. Is that how it works? If the stain was found after the second one, can the first one blame on the second one? No, not checked. If it was checked, then obviously once it was okay, the first one's okay.
Each one carries out by yourself, you can be even mad about it. If both came out together, or both, it's gonna be trouble.
Are they married? Are both married?
Yeah, well, that'd be a status situation. I mean, the same status.
Same.
They're the same status, so they're both
They're
married.
both married.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we did say if one is not married, she never did have sex, so it's like she's still Anita. That would be different. But what did we say? Is it only if they came at the same time that we have this problem?
If each one came by yourself, you're gonna be able to learn the other one.
Was that a fact? I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true. Even if each one comes on their own, they cannot blame it on the other one. Because to blame the other one, you have to specifically say she is Tmeya. The Rebbe's not going to say that. You understand? When do we say that we can each give them be makel? It's like each of them went on a road, and we're not sure, or each of them used a chicken. Had a certain share of blood that was not nida. Each one wants to claim that blood for themselves. So as long as they come separately, you can say, yeah, you're from the chicken. Yeah, you're okay. It's from the chicken. You're okay. It's from the chicken. That makes the other woman have trouble. Okay, but that we're not saying specifically she has trouble. When she comes, we'll deal with her. But here, in order to make one tar, you have to say the other one is tummy. That we don't do. That we don't do. I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry. They're both Tamea, yeah. All right, my friends, it's been a pleasure. Tomorrow we'll spend, because it's 10:01. We'll stop now. And we'll continue with Shem tomorrow. But just, and I will, Miss Shem, Lee Neder. But after that, we're going to go on to 191 and Mr. Shem.
Thank you very much. When do you change your clocks?
When do we change our clocks? I honestly don't know.
We change them up to
Sunday morning at 2 a.m. Sunday.
This weekend.
Very good.
Okay. I have a great idea for you. Why don't you do it at 7 o'clock every day?
I'm sorry?
I like this timing. I can actually stay up for this.
I was thinking that. Not so bad. 12 o'clock, not so bad.
Yeah.
7 o'clock, I don't know. It's just supper time, and I don't know. It's too much.
No,
Sorry.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Okay, my pleasure. All the best.
I have someone interested in potentially joining.
Very good.
Yeah. So I'll have to talk to you about that.
Very good. Hoping to start Hilchos Shabbos soon.
Okay. Do you know when we intend to do that?
I'm saying February just because I want to keep myself safe and not say January and have to change it. So that's what I'm saying. Excellent. Very good. Good.
And last year in December, it took us 3 weeks to get the test.
My friends, man.
We kept that with the equipment. We did it at the end of December.
All right.
And then we need a month because you were going to show.
I'm not going to my Israel this time. Not now.
So you think February or January? The Shabbos doesn't take a year, right? It's longer.
I think this time we're just going to take a year. Last time we did more because we didn't do Nida, so we extended Shabbos. I think this time we're going to do a year. Okay, all the best.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You said we're not doing Shabbos from the Shulchan